What's going on, Dog Squad? TreyDOG back here with another video on the channel. Got my TreyDOG 60 shirt on here for this March Madness Round 1 recap video here on TreyDOG 60. Is later at night here as the UConn Furman game just finished up here with the Huskies winning that one, and we'll talk about that game as well as many others here in this first round recap video, and we'll also preview the second round of the 2026 March Madness NCAA tournament. Yes, those are the same things, but as we kick off today's video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so never miss one of my videos. We're on the road to 2K subs here. Also make sure to like and share this video. We also got some descriptions with Discord down below. You make sure to go join that Discord in general. Also, I'll have some announcements posted. I'll try to post more on there. I think it's because it's been quieter, more now. But maybe when we get back open, I'll put some more stuff. Also, I do try to upload videos if I remember on there, but of course you always need to check YouTube and like I said, turn on notifications. We'll have Discord. You can chat in there, all that stuff. We got Dog Squad stuff going on. Be part of the Dog Squad. Be part of the Gold Dog Squad. But subscribe to TreyDOGaming as well. I know we didn't have videos last week, but we will, or last weekend, but we will on TreyDOGaming. We're on the road to 100 subs. We will have TreyDOGaming videos starting up probably Sunday. Spring break is coming up for me, so we'll have videos all week. Throughout the week, we'll get going with that Legend of Zelda series. We'll have some other videos as well. I'll plan out some videos for you. We might even start tomorrow on Saturday, but I will be busy with March Madness. So, but I might go ahead and start tomorrow anyways. But we'll see. But there'll be, there's a lot of March Madness, so we'll see. I'll let you know. But we'll have videos throughout the week, and as well we have the whole summer. We have we have breaks, weekends during the whole school year, the rest of the school year, and plus I'll be off earlier because I'm a senior. So even though college stuff might get busy, I'll still try to find TreyDOGaming videos, and of course TreyDOG 60 videos here for you. I'll let you know whenever when I get in college. I'll let you know all the updates and all that with that stuff. But I'll make sure to have a solid amount of videos going on for y'all, and especially with the NFL during the season, all that. So, but once we get in this video, make sure to do all that. Now, without further ado, let's get right in this video, Dog Squad. Okay, Dog Squad, so I did not tell you in the intro for some reason that we will be previewing my bracket, what it's like if you didn't keep track of, but this is it right here. 240 out of 320, that's pretty solid to me. On my leaderboards in the groups I'm in, it has me like, kind of in the middle range of like, first to last, no matter how big or how small it is. But that's also because of tiebreakers. I'm on like a 30-page one of them with like some YouTuber I know or Instagram content creator that I know that does college basketball stuff, and then one's a college football creator. And it's like, and then of course my school and all that. But you get the point. It's like I'm a big tiebreaker, and there's like people that are some reason 4 pages ahead of me when they have only 10 more points than me. So I was like talking to my dad about this. Like, it has. Whenever we start getting the bigger rounds, like tomorrow, the tiebreakers will start breaking, and we'll start to see who actually is at the top and who will be at the top. As rounds get closer and closer to eventually get your champion. Because last year I did pretty well finishing champion. I don't want this whole excuses of some people make of like, oh well, last year you still had upsets, you still had to pick the right pick. It's still March. Upsets have always been a thing, but like they can ruin you. But you still got to pick the correct pick. You still got to pick of who's going there, and I did not pick all 1 seeds to go. I had a 2 seed, I had 2 seeds, and 2 1 seeds in the Final Four, and then I had a 1-1 going at it. I had a 1 winning. But you had to pick also that right one. You also had to see who you thought would get to this, would get there anyways last year, which I had Clemson go up to the Elite Eight, and that didn't work out. So you still had to get those correct picks, and you still had to think. I get you just randomly pressing favorites because you didn't know, but I actually thought those were gonna. But I didn't. But some of it I actually thought. Some of them were actually gonna go to the Elite Eight, Sweet 16, all that stuff. I actually thought that. I actually thought they had a chance more than some other people just randomly put. I'm not one of those. Obviously, you know that. You saw my prediction videos and all that. Sorry if I'm yapping, let's get right into it. So we start off with Duke and Siena, and boy oh boy was this almost a 16-1 upset. We almost witnessed a 16-1 upset here. And Duke, I have them going to the Sweet 16. It wouldn't have been that big of a loss. It still helped me, plus 10 points, Duke. But you know how many brackets that would have busted. Duke, Siena played their butts off. They had no subs. They played with 5 guys, dude, I think because of injuries. And, Duke played soft for quite a bit. But they were able to pull it out. Siena got gassed, and Duke was able to get the win. I thought, after that High Point win, which we'll go over in a minute, you thought that maybe you would have a chance of maybe this being a great, upset March Madness, and we'll go over what it's been like later. But Duke wins. I get the pick right. Ohio State TCU, man, Ohio State tried pulling a comeback, but they couldn't. TCU with the last second putback to get the win over Ohio State. The Horned Frogs move on, and man, that was good. I got another 9-8 seed right, the first of many in this tournament, and the second one in a row I've gotten right away. Actually, the third one. This is the third straight year. The 9-8 game has been the first game that I've gotten right. That was the first one. I think a few years ago it was Maryland, West Virginia, and they ended up, I ended up getting that wrong. I had West Virginia winning, not Maryland, but so I've been right on those recently, and I think 9 seeds have ended up winning those games. So TCU does move on. They play Duke in the second round tomorrow. Moving on, St. John's, start to finish, pure dominance for Northern Iowa. That defense with Edgevor is great. Fantastic dominant defense, was able to hold Northern Iowa to 53 points. Fantastic from the Red Storm. Rick Pitino had his team ready, and they will play, I got that pick right, they will play Kansas, who score really, Kansas was actually on top of them, Darren Peterson having a great game, scoring a lot of points, scoring I think 28 out of the 68 points for the Jayhawks. A fantastic game from him. They let California Baptist, they let Dominic come back and with California Baptist lead his team to try to come back and win this game, and it just fell short. And we've seen that many times this tournament where it just seems like these upset teams have it, but they just can't quite do it. And it was a little too late for California Baptist, the Lancers. Great season, but they end up falling to Kansas, and so we will see a St. John's Kansas matchup in the Sweet 16, or in the round of 32. We'll see a Pitino and Bill Self game that we did not get to see last year because my Hogs were able to beat Kansas and then also beat St. John's. They beat 2 Hall of Fame teams. All right, moving on. This was my first pick that I got wrong. In fact, Louisville, South Florida, I thought would come out better. They got their butt whooped, and it didn't seem like that, but they kind of did. Even Louisville actually had like 23 turnovers this game, and they were struggling, but they were able to hold them from South Florida scoring a lot of points, and then they eventually South Florida, Joseph Pinion, all of them tried coming back, and they did, but then it wasn't enough. Louisville was able to get the round even without Brown Jr., their star player. And they move on to the round of 32. Good season so far from the Cardinals. That they've had a great season. Arkansas beat them earlier in the year. They were a top 5 team or top 10 team at one point in the ranking. Michigan State yesterday put a dominant performance over North Dakota State. Great job. Fears another good game. Michigan State going all over. Tom Izzo. You know what they say, January, February, Izzo. Michigan State rolls past North Dakota State. So we did get that pick right. UCLA, they were letting UCF hang in there way too much. And of course, it was going to be a 10-7 game. It's not like it was a hang in there. You're letting a mid-major hang in there. But both teams had a spectacular season. But UCLA moves on. I kind of figured, going in, they're the more experienced tournament team. But UCF gave one heck of a fight to the Bruins, and it was long. It took a while to end. He had like some of these reviews and these stoppage points and all that. But UCLA was able to get the win and move on, getting that right. And then UConn, Furman hung in there as well. This time I am right about the mid-major. Furman, kept getting a fight. They kept making threes, but it wasn't enough to beat the UConn Huskies and Dan Hurley. And they will go on to the round of 32 and will win their tournament win for the 4th straight year, and they're hoping to make the Sweet 16 for the 3rd time in 4 years. They didn't get live too because they played Florida, and actually had almost won that game against Florida last year in their down year of an 8th seed. But UConn is moving on, beating Furman as a 2 seed, and they will get to play UCLA. So far the East region, we did a pretty good job on. Yeah, I kind of know it was mostly chalk, but I didn't fall for the upsets, and that's one thing you got to give people eye on for some of these games. Don't fall for the amount of times you can say, oh, it was all chalk. It depends how you looked at it. Look, you could probably say it wasn't as impressive, but did they fall for the upsets? They did not. We didn't fall for the upsets here. And TCU, maybe you could say this was maybe an upset. I don't know. Honestly, I think was favored in this game. Maybe. I think TCU had an advantage. So I don't know. But this one was good. We take a look now at Florida and completely just massacred over Prairie View A&M. Not really much to say, but Florida, it looked like for a second Prairie View A&M might have a whole fight the whole game, maybe pull Siena. No, they did not. Though Florida just pounded them with one of the second largest deficit, I think, in school and NCAA tournament history. I think it was the second best point differential, I think, in NCAA tournament history. They move on, and Iowa, they've got a very talented offense. It didn't have their best showing, but they were able to get the job done with Bennett Sturts. Ben McCollum's done a great job. He's now won a tournament game every single time, and I kind of want that's one of the reasons why McCollum and Sturts have been phenomenal in tournament games. Everywhere they've went, and they do it here at Iowa, and they get it done over Clemson, 67-61, 67. Isn't that funny? They get to go place a dominant Florida team, the 1 seed, and maybe Iowa can give a better fight than Prairie View did, but you're comparing Iowa to Prairie View, so yeah, I'm sure they will. Vanderbilt and McNeese. Vanderbilt struggled at first, but when that Vanderbilt offense gets rolling, they get rolling. They were able to handle McNeese when McNeese still fighting, but they were able to beat them by 10, and they were able to win their first tournament game in a while. I think they did win I don't know if they won a first full game a while back, but it's been a while since I've definitely seen one. Nebraska, speaking of, we know who's definitely never won a tournament game before is Nebraska. They finally did it, dominating win over the Troy Trojans, who some people, including me, were hesitating taking Troy. Some people actually did. The rest of the week, I had Troy beating Nebraska. Then I changed. I was like, they'll probably get it this time. Nebraska, in fact, did get the win this time. Dominant victory over Troy, 76-47. Moving on, VCU with a huge comeback, and Hubert Davis's job is down the line. North Carolina just flat out couldn't do anything, blowing that lead. I think they had a 15-point lead, with 9 minutes or something to go. I was doing some homework. I was looking at the scores, I'm gonna get this VCU pick wrong. Maybe I'm not gonna pick them again. A lot of times they've been in and just waste a bid. Well, they won. They finally made it for the first. They finally won a tournament game for the first time quite a bit. They get the win in overtime over North Carolina. What a game that was! Getting that pick right for that game. And then Illinois, looked like Penn was going to hang around a little bit, but Illinois and their dominant offense shutting Penn down. Well-rounded team was able to defeat the Quakers. All right, so we had a row of streak. We had the VCU upset. It wasn't just chalk. We had the Iowa game. We had the VCU game. So, I'm getting these right. And then you had the St. Mary's. I thought, honestly, what I thought is, hey, St. Mary's, they can win the first round. They just don't ever make it past the first weekend. And, A&M's not as experienced. Their offense is good, but St. Mary's is well-rounded. I think they could be able to stop them. They couldn't. Now, they did only hold them to 63, but their offense got really going a lot lately, and St. Mary's offense did not look good. Only 50 points in this game. It was not good for them. The St. Mary's season ends to A&M in a 10-7 matchup. And then Houston, pure dominance over Idaho. Of course, we all kind of thought, get my pick right this one. Houston moving on to the second round, and I've got them in the Final Four, so they better keep that up. Okay, so if you take a look here, most of them were right, all 7 out of 8 on both regions. I only missed 3 yesterday. We take a look now at this. Arizona, obviously I kind of thought they were winning. I was going to pick a 16 over a 1. Came out start to finish. Arizona looking like one of the best teams right now, but will they keep that up is the question. Will they look, will they be, will they avoid getting losing earlier than they should. And hopefully Arkansas is the team to stop them. But they got to go play Utah State, who got the win over Villanova. They came, it was a battle the whole game, and then they just exploded at the very end, going like on a 10-0 run to beat Villanova. And Villanova's just not the same anymore. No matter, Jay Wright just had that program going, and they're just not the same anymore. And Utah State, they move on. It's about maybe every other year they win a tournament game. It was an 8 or 9, or was an 8 or 9, or maybe even 10 seed. So I think that's been the pattern, though. I think they've won like every other year. And Villanova season comes to an end for them. You got 2 Big East teams in there, and then one of them is going to make it to the Final Four because they're both in the East. Utah State moves on to play Arizona. High Point with a great comeback to go beat Wisconsin. They were favoring the whole game. Their offense was dynamic. Their defense struggled quite a bit against Wisconsin, but Wisconsin had the game in the bag. And then the missed layup or the blocked shot, and then they tossing it over. But Chase Johnson was able to get his first 2-pointer of the year, and it got the Panthers the lead to go 83-82. That better not happen tomorrow against Arkansas, which you can see I got the High Point pick right. That was phenomenal. I got that pick. Some of my other brothers were happy about that because we got that pick right. But Arkansas's got to go play them, but they look dominant against Hawaii. In fact, I think Hawaii's got a better defensive rate than High Point. So if we were doing that to Hawaii on the offense, getting all those dunks and alley-oops, that we can do that to High Point. And I think I can expect another high offensive day. We got to guard the perimeter. We cannot let High Point score all those threes. That's going to be tough for us. But I think, honestly, we can get a good win, probably by, about 8 or 9 points. I think we can honestly do. It's going to be a good game, though, I think, between Arkansas and High Point. But I think we'll make our way to the Sweet 16. We did get the Arkansas game against Hawaii, right? They had run the spread right. It looked like 15 to 20 points. It was like the whole game, and they wouldn't go any further. Sometimes it went to 10, but other than that, Arkansas started off right off the bat in pure domination over the Rainbow Warriors. Moving on, you had BYU and Texas. This was one I ended up getting wrong. Texas, I thought DJ to the Sweet 16 I've got now. This is my first one, my first Sweet 16 pick. That will be wrong, or my first round of 32 pick. That will be wrong. So now I only have 14 games to choose from. This other one, we'll talk about Akron in just a second. Yeah, I know you might think it was stupid, but we'll talk about how reasonable I think it was. AJ couldn't do everything for this team, man. I thought he could. It looked like in that Big 12 tournament. It looked like throughout the season he could. He couldn't. He can't do everything for that team. And, I know other players contribute else to be a worse of a blot, but he's doing, I think, BYU they needed more. And their third straight year as a 6 seed, and they had a good run last year, but another first-round exit to an 11 seed. And good for the SEC, good for Texas. Trademark Mark, all of them having a great game for the Longhorns. Sean Miller, getting this team going from the first 4 down to the second round. There always is a first 4 team to go to the second round. And we'll talk about the other team I thought it would be, and you probably know who I'm talking about. And I got this one wrong. Didn't think Texas would do it, but, it is what it is. Gonzaga, Kennesaw State gave a good fight to the Zags. Gonzaga getting the win, though. They were able to fight at the very end. Zags usually make the Sweet 16. They probably will now, but hey, Texas is dangerous. So we'll see. We got that pick right. Then got this pick wrong today. Miami beating Mizzou. Mizzou, they didn't want to take the lead. They kept letting them get away, and then I don't know, and Barrett's not the most clutchest person, it seems like, and makes too many mistakes, it feels like, and Missouri had way too many mistakes and way too many chances, and Miami kept taking advantages with the threes, and overall Missouri just didn't look like they wanted to go out there and win the game enough, and Miami took the advantage, as I kind of thought Missouri would go out there maybe looking like the Missouri they did, but you never know. Same with Miami, you never knew. So this one was a harder pick to make, and I got the wrong one. I've had some upset picks in the past, but like this one, but that wasn't it this time. So, Purdue and Queens. You maybe thought that Purdue was going to pull a first round exit thing to a higher seed, but they didn't this time. Braden Smith with a very efficient game. Now leading the all-time record in assists, and who knows if that will ever be broken by a player. But a phenomenal game from the Purdue Boilermakers to score 104 points, beating the ASUN champs Queens and moving on. So you take a look at tomorrow between Arizona, Utah State, High Point, Arkansas, Texas and Gonzaga, and Miami, Purdue. So you take a look, and you do have a whole section here where you don't have a regular chalk one in this one. You know, you have a 1-9, 12-4, 11-3, and then you have your classic 7-2, which I did have the High Point and the Utah State one, so I did have a lower seed there winning, but I did not have the Texas game. Moving on to our last one of the time, Michigan beating Howard. Howard gave them a fight the whole game, you know, well, the whole first half, I should say. Then Michigan pounded right through second half. They, you know, defense struggled against Howard, but then, you know, eventually their offense got still rolling. With their defense capitalizing and being able to win by 21 points. Eventually, you know, the game was already over and some backups came in. But Michigan moves on, looks like a pretty good team, and hopefully my pick's still right. St. Louis, pure domination against Georgia. I don't know why Georgia keeps getting blown out, but I had St. Louis in this one, and I'm glad I did. And I knew they could. Their offense was dynamic. I knew Georgia's defense. Their offense was good. Their defense wasn't. I knew that could be a problem, especially against Robbie Avila and that talented offense of the Vulcans in St. Louis. Getting the win, and they're going to have a chance against Michigan to pull off an upset. Please do not. I supported you the other Thursday. Do not. I don't want any more, okay? They're going to play really they're going to play tough tomorrow. And it's the first game of the second round, first game of tomorrow at 11:10 a.m. And then here we go. These 4 games really was a difference between me maybe having a chance. Look, honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, I had 2 of these most of the week. I had a few of these the whole week. I had A&M the whole week, I think. I did have Troy, I think, the whole week. But I had Bama, I had Tennessee, and I think I had Akron, I think, already off the bat. I don't know, I kind of changed it sometimes. Some of these were very close for me getting right, but it made sense. And this my explanation is Texas Tech came off right off the bat, you know, and they kept letting Akron kept getting in it, but then they kind of just pulled away. I thought Akron was going to have a great, you know, have a chance at a finish, and there doesn't look like to me that many anymore of multiple 12-5 upsets, and you don't also see many more 13-4 upsets anymore with Hofstra, because they had a lead like the whole first half, and they led up, and Alabama pulled away eventually, and you know, it kind of made sense with, you know, Alabama's drama has been going on. Their defense is struggling, even though their offense is good. I thought Hofstra would be a candidate to win, and one of my buds is also did pick Hofstra as well, and well, it didn't work out. So instead of a 12-13, we got both wrong, and that cancels out the Akron over. But it would have been awesome if I had gotten those right, because it would have bumped my standings. I would have gotten to 260, maybe even more if I could have gotten this Tennessee, Miami, Ohio if I hadn't changed it. I thought Miami, Ohio would have been on a roll. Look, I had nothing to do with, you know, I didn't think it'd be a whole, oh, well, only because of the record. No, I didn't think that. If I had thought it was because of the record, I would probably have them in the Final Four or something like that. But no, I just flat out thought they were on a roll against SMU, you know, making all those shots. Tennessee, I thought they easily could mess up, and well, they did not choose to do that today. Rick Barnes had them boys ready. Nate Ament is a freaking dog, and so is Gillespie. Very good for the Tennessee Volunteers, and good for the SEC. Virginia, man, Wright State had them. They had them. That chance of an upset wouldn't have been surprised either if Virginia lost this game. You know they are on a march. But Wright State wasn't able to hold on. Virginia getting the win to pull out in 82-73. So that's the thing about this march. Now it feels like you have a chance at these deep upsets, but they never can pull it out. So Virginia gets the win, and they move on to take Tennessee, and then you have Kentucky and Santa Clara. I did get the Virginia pick right, by the way, as you can see. And then Kentucky, Santa Clara, you know, it's like I was in school today, and, you know, we have this reading period, and there's some guys were watching it at an angle. I couldn't just get up, or our teacher would have thought I was watching it, and I didn't want to do that. And they were saying, one of my buds was telling me that they made so Santa Clara tied it up, or took the lead with 2 seconds, and then Kentucky shot it. The game, and I look at the replay, and so take away, freaking almost half. Oh, I think it was it half court? It was close to it at least. And nailing that from downtown, I'm like, so then Santa Clara had a chance to get my bracket good here, and they had a chance to win. And Kentucky was able to pull out the win overtime as well. So it was a good pick. Multiple people had Santa Clara that I knew, and a lot of people did that picked brackets, and Santa Clara not enough. Kentucky wins, and then Iowa State just overall just blowing out Tennessee State. Now their best player did get hurt, Iowa State, so that's a struggle for Iowa State in this one. Will it matter against Kentucky? Will they head to the Final Four? I don't know. We'll see, but they had a good dominant for fashion against Tennessee State today. So without him, so we'll see what they can do without him. They gotta find some way to keep him healthy. Maybe they can just. It was sprained, I think. I think maybe he could be back. So right now, this one honestly was kind of chalky a little bit. You have 1-9, 5-4, 6-3, 7-2. Yeah, you know, kind of reminds me of last year's bracket. You know, kind of picking some upsets here and there, but also picking some easier ones, and you know, because you think that's gonna actually happen, and it did. And you know, you also think some upsets are still gonna happen. They don't happen, but sometimes they also do. You know, we're seeing upsets outside. You know, between 1 and 12, but you're not seeing any 13 through 16 anymore. You're not seeing those, and you will not be seeing that once again this year. But the second round is going to be very interesting to see. I'm sorry if this is a longer video. I've just talked a lot, especially with these first round games, and you know, also I haven't done a lot of basketball recording this year. I usually do it during postseason. So, you know, honestly, this Duke TCU is going to be a good game to watch. Will Duke kind of get over that Siena game and kind of get back because TCU is good? St. John's, Kansas. Honestly, could St. John's put up a big game against the Jayhawks? Because Jayhawks, they looked good for a little while in this game, and then they let Cal Baptist come back. And you know, a lot of people had St. John's win this game. Louisville, Michigan State. I expect Michigan State to win this game. I also expect UConn to win this, but I think it'll be a dogfight. Florida, I think, can honestly put a good game up against Iowa. They're just going to have to contain Bennett Sturts in that good Iowa offense. And Vanderbilt, Nebraska. Look, I had Nebraska losing before, but hey, they both looked good the other day. I could see Nebraska winning this. This would be a tough one. Honestly, it could go either way. It's going to be a good game to watch between two talented offenses and two teams that know how to play ball. And especially Nebraska's defense, only got 47 points to Troy. Could definitely work against Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles in that Vanderbilt Commodores offense. VCU and Illinois, I think Illinois should be able to win this game. They're not as good as North Carolina is. Or they're not, sorry, North Carolina's not Illinois. Illinois is much better. A&M Houston, hey, we saw a fight a few years ago. Can this happen again? I honestly think it can. If Houston doesn't slow down A&M, they could be a battle, and they can maybe get upset. Arizona, Utah State, I think Arizona should probably be able to win this, but maybe Utah State can do us all a favor. If Utah State can beat Arizona tomorrow or on Sunday, we win, I mean, we might have a chance. We might. Because you know how it goes, and but I don't think it will happen. It's probably going to have to be us going up against Arizona, and I think Arkansas will win this game. Like I said earlier, I think it'll be a high-scoring game, but Arkansas should be able to take care of business against High Point. It'll be a good game. It'll be a tough battle for the Hogs. Texas Gonzaga. Texas give a fight to Gonzaga. I think they definitely can make this a good game. I think the Zags can take the job. I'm not really giving my predictions, but I'm just kind of stating my facts. Mine Purdue. I think Purdue should be able to win this. I think with by a double-digit lead, but maybe by 10 to 15 points. Michigan and St. Louis. I think St. Louis will give a fight. I think it'll be like the Florida-UConn game where Florida will pull it out at the end. Michigan getting it. Texas Tech, Alabama. That's going to be a tough one to get. This will be a great game to watch. Two teams that are without one of their best players, but we now have seen. Now, I don't know about Alabama against, Power 4 squads and higher teams if they can do it without Aiden Holloway, but we've seen Tech do it. We'll see what goes on. This will be a good game to watch between Texas Tech and Alabama. Tennessee and Virginia. I honestly could see either way here. If Virginia plays like they did against Wright State, Tennessee could waddle all over them. But if Virginia plays like we've seen all year, maybe Virginia can win that game. Iowa State will also, let's see, without their star player, what can they do against a Kentucky team with star players such as Chandler and Owe on their team? Now, those are the round 32. This is the first round recap, second round preview, and a little bit of sparkle prediction, and also review my bracket. Look, 24 out of 32, that's pretty good, I'll have to say. Not too shabby for a first round game, and of course, we had some upsets in there, had some wrong upsets, but had some correct picks. We didn't fall for the upsets, and those are my correct picks. Thanks so much for watching, Dog Squad. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below your picks and takes. And so far, your bracket status if you made one. I'll see you next time, Dog Squad. Peace.